How can we reduce violent crime in our neighborhoods? How long before we start to see results? Should only the police and government participate, or should it be the community as a whole? These are the questions that people often ask whenever we have this conversation on crime and violence in our communities. Now, families frequently feel that not enough is being done to solve the killings or address the problem. Why, though, are they feeling this way? Is it that we lack faith in our system's ability to effect positive change? For decades, there has been a futile search for root causes of crime, citing nearly any adversity as casual to criminal conduct. We look at social and economic factors, education, income, peer pressure, drugs, and alcohol. We have been searching, we have been looking as to what are the root causes of crime in our communities. Now in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the Caribbean region, but more so in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have the issue of crime and violence in our communities, murders in particular. And for 2023, we have had 22 murders for the year. But whenever these things take place, the questions come. How do we respond to criminal activity taking place in our community? What is there to assist at-risk youths? What has been the response? What is available? What are the programs that are available to at-risk youths? What about the rehabilitation process? Are we focusing on rehabilitation for our inmates? It's the top of the hour, and you're listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Let me give out the numbers for those of you who are just joining the program. You can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Again, the numbers are 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. The topic of crime and violence. Very emotional, very, a very delicate topic. A topic that people usually shy away from. But I want to have this conversation with you, the listeners, today. And I want to hear from you. What do you think we should do as a community? What should the response be like from police and government? Do you think that it will take the entire community to respond and address the issue of crime and violence in our communities? What are the root causes? As I said earlier, for decades we have been searching, trying to find out, why are people committing crime? What is pushing them or encouraging them to do so? These are the conversations that we've been having for quite some time. Now, present and past administrations have come with different solutions, different plans and programs on how they intend to address the issue of crime and violence. Everybody has tried something. Everybody has said, okay, this is what we're going to do to address the issue. Not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but if you follow the news across the Caribbean region, particularly in the country of Trinidad and Tobago, they have been having a number of discussions and symposiums on how to address the issue of crime. And how do they target gun violence and gangs in the communities. They start in the school, because people are of the view that that is where crime starts, in the school. Some argue that crime starts in the home. And then there are just some people who, for whatever reason, decides to get up on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning and decides to commit a crime. But the truth is, we never know. The truth is, there is no one solution or one idea that we can implement to solve this issue of crime and violence in our communities. And that is my view on it. As I said, later on in the program, I want to hear from you. What do you think needs to be done from government, from police, from the community to address the issue of crime? I think crime is everybody's business. Most of these criminal activities take place in small communities, in villages. And oftentimes, and I'm going to be frank here, we know who the perpetrators are. But there's also the issue of trust and confidentiality. And I'm being real here. And so that oftentimes people shy away from coming to the fore and say, hey, this is what I know. And that's a fact. That is a fact. But what are we going to do? What should we do to address the issue of crime and violence? Now, in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force have been maximizing the use of technology and forensics in their operations to curb crime. I know in terms of their involvement at the school level, they have reinstated the school liaison officer program to encourage positive mentorship of our young students, encourage and support neighborhood watches, improve the dissemination of information to the public, and they've been training national security personnel in all areas of service. But back to the one about school liaison officer program to encourage positive mentorship of our young students. Remember I mentioned earlier that there are some people who are of the view that crime starts in the schools at a very young age. And so I think this initiative put forward by the police force is a good one, where it gives them an opportunity to identify at an early stage at-risk young people, at-risk children. Remember, again, we're on we're talking about there are some people who believe that that is where crime starts. And so I think a program like this provides an opportunity for the police and for the powers that be to identify the at-risk youth in our community. Now, looking at what is being done and what are some of the programs that exist to help our young people. There are programs in schools, there are programs from the Department of Youth in both St. Kitts and in Nevis. But we also have to ask ourselves this question, right? And I know we talk a lot about helping our young people and rehabilitation and all of that, right? But again, I'm going to be frank here. There's some of them that they decline, they turn down the help. There's so many programs and initiatives that exist out there to give them a second chance. And some of them completely ignore it. For whatever reason, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. But they completely ignore the opportunity. They have been given a second chance at life to make good, to do something good and positive in the community. And I'm telling you, they ignore it. But you would agree with me that whenever a murder happens, we have this conversation. How do we tackle the issue of crime and violence in our communities? We also ask, what is the police doing? What is the response from them? How do we address this issue? How? I know in the Caribbean we have the regional security system. And I was listening to the Prime Minister at his roundtable discussion on Thursday, and he made mention of the government's approach where they have been investing in that in the RSS, and law enforcement officials and personnel from St. Kitts and Nevis have benefited from training opportunities that exist there, and they've been investing in the RSS. But what more can we do? You see me? I am of the view that it's not just the police and it's not just the government, but it is the community. If I am to be very frank here, and I think you would agree with me, that oftentimes whenever these things, when criminal activity takes place in our community, we are aware. We know what is happening. We know when it happened. We know what happened. We know why it happened. We know how it happened. We know. So we have to also ask ourselves this question. And this is a bold question. Are we a part of the problem? What are we doing to help the situation, to address the situation? These are questions that we're going to have to ask ourselves. These are questions that we're going to have to ask ourselves. Real questions. And I'm pretty sure these are questions that we ask ourselves, and these are conversations that we have from time to time when we're on the topic of crime and violence taking place in our communities. St. Kitts and Nevis is a very small place, and everybody knows everybody. And so whenever you hear of a homicide, oftentimes you are able to make a connection. Oftentimes you're able to make a connection. Very, very small community. And so whenever a homicide takes place, we are all impacted. We are all affected by it because we either know the victim, or we are a friend or a family friend, or whatever the issue may be, whatever the case is, we know. But crime and violence, how do we address it? How do we address it? Earlier, I spoke about young people turning down opportunities that give them a second chance. And I say this because I know that I've seen people my age being afforded not just an opportunity, but opportunities, and they turn them down. They turn them down. No, I am not saying that we should not expect the police and government to play their part. But as a community, there's a lot more that we can do. And when I'm talking about community, I'm not just talking about as a village, but I'm also talking about from an education standpoint in terms of schools. Are the parents providing the necessary support to our schools, to our teachers? We celebrated World Teachers Day on Thursday, the 5th. And I was monitoring social media, and I saw all of these wonderful WhatsApp status and posts about the amazing teachers that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis. And let me use this opportunity to wish a belated happy World Teachers Day to all the amazing teachers out there. Well, we celebrated World Teachers Day yesterday, right? And we took the opportunity to recognize those men and women who played a very important role in the development of our young people and of our people, right? But how many of us gave them a hard time when they sought to discipline our children? How many of us were of the view, oh, they don't like my child? And I'm having this conversation because these are the things that we say. How many of us did not give teachers the opportunity to give their students or a particular student or your child the opportunity at a second chance? Again, I'm having this conversation because this is what we're saying. This is what is going on, right? For those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I am Devonne Cornelius. It is 11:14. We want to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation, and of course, we'll open the phone lines so you can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. That's 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Let's take this break and we'll be right back.
This is a public service announcement from Crime Stoppers St. Kitts and Nevis.
If you know the chief of PC, if you know they tried to shoot me, if you know about a break-in or a big drug smuggling, if you know it, tell it. Tell somebody. If you know it, tell it. Tell somebody. Tell 1-800-TIPS. TIPS. Tell Crime Stoppers. Call that number now. Tell 1-800-TIPS. TIPS.
If you know it, tell it. Tell Crime Stoppers. Tell 1-800-8477-TIPS.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining the program. Let me give you the numbers again to call in. You can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. The phone lines are open and we want to hear from you. We have a caller on the line. All right. A caller, good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Well, you're giving God thanks,
Awesome.
Good to be alive. Now, I will ask a question, make a statement before I say what I have to say. I don't think I like the idea of this show being hailed as a political show. You have heard the advertisement, right? Huh?
Yeah, caller, I'm listening to you. Go ahead and make your point.
Yes. Is this really a political show?
Yes, it is, caller. But do you have a contribution to make to the topic at hand?
What is the objective of the show? If it is a political show, what is the objective?
Hello, caller.
Yeah, you heard me. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening to you, but I'm asking you, do you have a contribution to make to
but
the
I
topic
want
at
you to answer
hand?
me first. What is the objective of this political show that you are hosting?
Well, I'll give you a response, but I'm asking you if you don't have a contribution to make, we'll have to take another call, all right?
Do you want me to call back?
Do you have a contribution to make?
Yes, I do, but I want to hear from you what is the
caller,
objective
go
of the
ahead
show.
and make your contribution, or else we'll have to take another call.
Take another call.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 465-2555. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Carl Brown here, and good morning to the listeners home and abroad. Mr. Cornelius.
Yeah, go ahead.
Crime. Right? Let us put it in its perspective. we can never stop crime. We can slow it down. We can maintain some of the avenues of crime because, remember, crime is, put it this way, a whole barrage of many avenues. Crime is not just shooting and killing and stabbing and that sort of thing. Crime, like I said, come in a barrage of avenues because even thieving, taking money without the correct intent that you did not work for and all of that, all those are correct. And crime comes in so many ways. Now, like I say, we can stop the many avenues of crime. We can slow down some and we can maintain some. Don't care what you do and don't care how many sporting facilities, don't care how many jobs you create, you're going to always have crime because though you may be paying small or big money, many of us always want more. And before we work harder, longer hours, and putting more effort into gaining more money, we come up with some scams, some schemes to get the money more, what we may call more easier, which in some time is send you either to the hospital, the cemetery, or the prison. But in what we're doing when you're asking the question, what is the community doing? Well, the community, once ago, let's say the 60s, the 70s, and early 80s, the community used to do a lot. Because, the community used to watch out, for your child, your children. They used to watch your house. You could have gone leave your house, put them trouble and that kind of thing.
Right.
But as we develop crime also. We develop the knowledge and the thinking of criminals and want to be criminals. Because, we introduce the television, we introduce the internet, we introduce the cell phones and the WhatsApp and all kind of thing. So we too are significant creators of introducing knowledge of creating crime, just more, what we say, educationally. So stopping crime, it will never happen. And two, with the community, you ain't gonna get much help from many of the communities. Don't care how hard crime hit them. Because there is also the fear of backlash in terms of what we call snitch. If you snitch on me, I'm coming for you and your family. How are we going to control that? How are we going to stop the authorities from going back to the criminals and telling the criminals, Carl Brown is who tell us, you do this? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Right. And how are you going to protect Carl Brown when Carl Brown see major crime happening and Carl Brown call a particular police officer or security officers, tell me the information? Then Carl Brown goes to court openly and say, I see Mr. Personality commit this crime and give all the details how it happened. Yet the government and the police and the security have a successful case and everything. Carl Brown may get a couple $100, right? After that, the person goes to prison and whatever. How are you going to protect Carl Brown after that? Because remember, you got a successful crime out of the way, the person gone to prison and you just think that's it. What about, how are you going to stop Mr. Personality in prison to send out a hit on Carl Brown?
All right.
Right? Where you go, what you're going to do with Carl Brown after all of that, the person in prison, they get 10 years. They live out the 10 years. How are you going to stop the person from coming out and taking revenge on me? You see what I'm saying? You see how going go?
Right. I'm following you, caller. Well, we want to take some more calls.
Yeah,
right? So wrap it up quickly.
Just some tips.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It is 11:24 here in the studios of ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. But thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to the program. And you touched on a lot of what people have been saying as it relates to the issue of crime and violence, and some of what I have said, and some of the questions that we continue to ask whenever we're talking about crime and violence, and the role the community can play. But you made mention of something very important. I think you were hinting to the role technology has played in crime and violence and criminal activity taking place in our community. And so now criminals are exposed to the internet, and we know what the internet is about, and there's so many things on the internet, right? So technology, to some extent, really has played a role in criminal activity in our community. But I do understand where you're coming from, and television and access to the internet. Definitely, I do understand where you're coming from. But I wanted to now touch on what exists, what plans and programs exist to help our young people, right? And to use this platform to make them aware of the fact that help is out there. Help is out there. I did mention earlier that there's some people that turn down the help and refuse the help, but help is out there. There's so many youth groups and organizations in St. Kitts and Nevis that our young people can participate in, can join, and be a part of. There's so many programs going on right now from the police level. And I can tell you from what I'm seeing here, the police have really implemented a lot of programs to curb the issue of crime. I understand that they have youth-focused and behavioral programs where the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is collaborating with the Ministries of Education and Social Services to focus on at-risk youth. And so that is something that is going on. Earlier, I made mention of the School Liaison Officer program, the training opportunities, using technology and forensic science to address the issue of crime and violence. Now, when I listened to the Prime Minister at the roundtable yesterday, he did make mention of the fact that the government has invested in national security in the different agencies, and they're also looking at crime from a public health perspective, and not just in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the Caribbean. So looking at crime from a public health perspective, I know Trinidad and Tobago has been focusing a lot on that. Looking at crime from a public health perspective, and really creating an environment that allows at-risk youth, at-risk young people to get a chance, a second chance, an opportunity at life again. And I would say reintegrate into the community, and to let them know that all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost. It's 11:28 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. You can call us at 465-2555. We have a caller.
Mr. Cornelius.
Yes, caller, go ahead.
Here again. As you're talking about at-risk youth, we hear the talk all the time. But then all these youth, lots of these youths come up at risk, and we spot it very early. We spot it from things in the, what we call the preschool, daycare, primary school. We see the anger. We see the fighting mentality. We see the abuse. They abuse the other students, colleagues. They abuse the teachers, right, and workers at the school. And they come right up to that school thing. What are we doing in that area? They come right up to high school, leave high school, we see them joining gangs. What are we doing about those areas? Right? We see them have mental problem at a very early stage, sometime at 9, 8, 7, and we laugh and we say, oh, what you don't behave, she already. All of these things we have to pick up at an early age and work hard and tremendously, and it's stopping it instantly. But you see, they have so much organization now protecting the youth that you can't do much. All you could do is a little talking and a little advising. Sometimes when you punishment some group, some organization come and say you're too harsh, you the adult get punished for creating punishment to the youth where you don't spot very early. So what are we going to do in those areas? How are we going to protect the adults, and how are we going to protect the youth and stop the youth early o'clock with all these agencies that are protecting youth while we see the criminal activity, we see the wrong, we see the harshness in them early o'clock. But then when you as an adult and as teachers, advisors, whoever try to do something, some organization, some head body come tell you, you're dealing with them too hard. How are we going to deal with that? Gone.
Okay, Carla, thank you for your contribution to the program. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, your host. Thank you so much for joining us. We are also live on social media, so you can check us out on ZIZ's YouTube channel as well as ZIZ's Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining the program. Now, the government currently has in place the Joint Security Operations Tactical Team, and this is equivalent to the Prime Minister's something like a Special Forces, and they've been working assiduously to suppress crimes in the community. I understand that this team, as the Joint Security Operations Tactical Team, have been in the community engaging and meeting people where they are. They're doing their homework, and they're having conversations with our people to find out what is the issue and what are some of the issues that they face in terms of crime. The special advisor, Dr. Powell, the first name is losing, I think is Edwin, Dr. Edwin Powell, special advisor to national security, has been doing a lot of work and implementing strategies to respond to the issue of crime and violence in St. Kitts and Nevis. But guys, I made the point earlier. Yes, government is doing, police is doing. What are we doing? Let me stick a pin and I'll go back to the phone lines and take this call. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Devon.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
First, I always want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation. Now, I'm so agree with Carl. Where we are going to do, because we're supposed to don't see those children idle coming up in places where they ain't supposed to be. Grown big men, grown big women, smoking, and they're supposed to be in school. And sometimes police independent to them, and they don't want to say nothing to them. But Devon, I must agree with Carl with what Carl said just now.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we see some are very old. That child is a rude child. That child do not respect the teacher, do not respect nobody from the school compound or whatsoever. Whether you're a girl or a boy. And these are the things that we've got to face and we see. And we turn a blind eye on these things. Devon, up to yesterday, I met two young men. Two young little boy, young boy. And I asked them if they don't go to school. They say, you don't go to school. And I said, what you all doing? What you all ideally doing here? You are supposed to be in school. Well, they're not giving me no good answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turn off, leave them. You understand? I remember back in my days, back in the 70s when I was going to school, Devonne, you got somebody going around, and it wasn't the police. You had people like a man named Mr. Harris, Mr. Old Clark, and all those guys used to go around, go in every community, and search out that community and see whatever young girl or young little boy ain't going to school. They deal with them and take them home to the parents and where the parents got to tell them and whatever.
So you think that is missing today?
Eh?
You think that is missing today?
The missing today because even the police them see them sometimes. The police them don't tell them nothing. Remember back in my time, police here by a rum shop or by a business place as a child. They ask you what you doing here, they run you, tell you, no, you're supposed to be here. You see 13 years, 14 years, 15 years, all kind of age, all around the terminal. Yeah, and police around and see them and don't question them and ask them why they not in school. And this is thing we got to face. And if we continue to let our young men and women going that way, what do you think gonna happen? What do you think gonna happen, Brother Devon?
Following you.
We in for a real dreadful situation when they come man and woman and they grow up in that way. Okay, Brother Devon, let's somebody do the chat.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It is 11:35 here in the studios of ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM, and you're listening to The Edge. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. For those of you who are just tuning in, we're on the topic of crime and violence. And with that topic, the questions come. What are we doing as a community? What can we do to address the issue of crime and violence in our community as it relates to murders? I wanted to share these statistics with you that I have. All right, so in the first quarter of this year, from January to April, 9 murders were recorded in St. Kitts and Nevis. However, by June 2023, an additional 8 persons were murdered, bringing the total to 17. And this is according to police statistics. A month later, 2 young people were killed in separate incidents. Police data covering all of 2023 is not expected until early 2024, but according to the sentiments of the general public, the current trend follows a grim past. In 2013, there were 21 homicides, 24 in 2014, 29 in 2015, and 32 in 2016. According to police statistics, there was 1 shooting with intent matter in 2020, 4 of the same in 2021, 3 in 2022. As at June 2023, 5 cases were recorded. There were no firearm woundings between 2020 and 2022. However, 2 were recorded between January and June 2023. This is just some information as it relates to crime statistics. We have cases where police have solved quickly, and I know oftentimes we as members of the community are quick to call out the police on not solving the murders in quick time. What about when they do solve the murders? What about when they come up with solutions? And so I am of the view, the same how we're going to criticize, the same how we should congratulate the police for their efforts. We have a caller on the line. All right. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon.
Yes, caller, go ahead.
How are you?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Me too. I ain't talked to you for a while.
I'm here.
In one of the drone.
It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah, well, I come in here with a cat and nine whip here now. Devon, when a tree is planted and the bark is hard and old and the tree is stiff, you can't go so you bend in that tree.
Mm-hmm.
None of us here born big. Everybody born a little babe who not aware that they are alive. And there is where the training supposed to start, right there when the mother deliver that baby. That mother supposed to be so absorbent on that child. When you make good move, well, she just hold it, hug it, give it a kiss, and tell it like that. You must do that. When you make bad move, don't be afraid to tell it. You don't have to break in it with licks. And as you go along and you do wrong things, and the child see the parents call it from that, you're going to get to understand he's not supposed to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where the Bible come in now. When we go against the teachings of the Bible, the consequence will be very destructive. The Bible said, train up a child. It didn't say train up an adult. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he shall not depart from it, or he will not depart from it. Even though the child get the training and he glide a little on the wrong side,
mm-hmm.
he's going to pull back up before he reach the destination. And he going to remember the training that he get. But here what happen now. Those people around the world, especially one of them countries up there, I'm going to call the name, when they go in the parliament to make laws, they're making laws to tell you, the parent, if you correct the child according to what the Bible says, if you talk to the child in a way, they're going to say, listen, you abuse the child verbally, and they want to take the child from you and give it to somebody else. Here is where they go wrong. And then these countries here in the Caribbean, all of them adapt to the policy. They copy, follow suit, dog, does mange. They're not supposed to follow that kind of training where they give it to people. Or you know, in St. Thomas, one of my mother last child, when she go in school, she wanted to get she big woman way. And my mother, one of my sister, elder sister, talked to her. And she wanted to give fight. And my sister deal with her. And she hear the other spoiled children, them say, anytime your mother knock, you call the police. Anytime your father is to bang, you call the police. When police come, hear the police telling them, look, you don't hit the child. Do not hit the child. Who must hit it? So when my mother come, my sister tell me mother what happened. And my mother put on what she got to put on upon she. And she tell her, go call, see the phone and call police, let her come. Let her come. And she did went with her rudeness on the phone and call police, and they come. My mother say, okay, I mustn't hit her. That's my child. My mother bring she clothes and put them out upon the step. Say, you go with she and them there. They turn off leave her there. And today, she ain't regret that my mother and my sister them put on the manners for her. But you see, they follow these big countries, but you can't talk to your child. You can't spank them. If you tell them, open your hand and you bang them in the hand, they're going to go say, see the ruler mark, the letter mark. There is where they gone wrong. Here is where they gone wrong. And right now, the horse, don't get 7 horses, don't come out of the gate, and only one more in there. And you got to do a lot of banging and giddy up to catch them, and you can't catch them. So all the organization, what they're coming with, that ain't it. That is not it. You got to look for them, they ain't come out of your mother belly yet. And those that come out, don't be afraid to punish them. Don't come tell me no stupidness. Oh, no, you can't hit the child, you can't do this, and you can't do that. Can't do that. You hear about the child what bite off your mother ear? When it was time to hang the man, tell your mother, come man, put your ear here, I want to tell you something, because that was the last thing he got to do to your mother.
All right, caller.
And he tell, hold on, he tell her, if you talk to me, I would not have been in here. You cannot take white paint out of milk when you don't drop in it. Okay, Devon, thanks.
Thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to the program. The phone lines are open and we're taking your calls. We have another caller. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Okay, I think we may have lost that caller. Okay, the caller is back. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. A couple of years ago, I was in St. Thomas, right? So he have a little boy, he want to beat him. And he went to the station. The police come there and tell the mother, if he have to beat him again, they gonna lock her up. What do you think about that?
If we had to beat him again, they're gonna lock him up? Caller?
Okay, yeah. I would dear, no. I would dear.
Yeah, you repeat the last part for me, please.
Huh?
Yeah, repeat the last part of what you said for me, please.
I tell you, he went to the station for his mother because his mother beat him. Police went and looked for the mother and tell the mother, do not hit him again. Why they got cause to lock her up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why children come back.
Wow. I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. Colin, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We want to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation for today. Let's take this break.
The Sandy Point Agricultural Cooperative Society presents its 13th annual World Food Day, Food Fair, and Agricultural Exhibition, Saturday 14th October at the Eco Park. It starts at 1 p.m. There'll be a rabbit festival, rabbit cooking competition, food vendors, agricultural demonstrations, sustainable development goals exhibits, agricultural games, plenty prizes and surprises, kids zone, and much more. Musical entertainment by DJ Kotai, Unstoppable Sounds, Bila Vibe Sounds, and the Road March Champions, Grandmasters. Hosted by DJ Woodies. Admission only $5. So, see you on Saturday 14th October at the Eco Park for the 13th annual World Food Day Food Fair and Agricultural Exhibition.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Welcome back to The Edge. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Awesome.
You know, I'm listening to the program, and one your caller made the point is that we have a lot of these big developed countries. They have all kind of policies in place when it comes to children, you know. They call it protection policies. And our Caribbean leaders, and, you know, I'm blaming the Caribbean leaders, you know, they go up there and they sign on to all these conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, what happened is that we, you know, our children are getting spoiled like the children in the big developed countries. I mean, look what is taking place in some of those other countries. And Devon, I don't know if people are noticing it. It is slowly spreading down to the Caribbean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You notice when you listen to the news, you notice in some Caribbean countries we are having violence in our school.
Right. I've seen some footage and I'm hearing some things as well.
Yeah, and people are, we in the Caribbean, you know, we are not taking this thing seriously. It is melting down in the Caribbean. The only problem that you see we don't have a, you know, where, you know, is with the mass shooting and so in school, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But listen to some of the, you know, they got some little minor things, and, you know, minor things has turned out to be big in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our leaders in the Caribbean here, we need to stop it. We need to go. We need to stop following this country and signing on to some of these conventions. You understand? And then we have to be guided. Once we sign on, we have to be guided by them.
So you think that we are influenced by the international community?
Yes, that's right. Of course. And it is something that I am totally against. I mean, yes, I understand. In the past, you have some parents kind of licks they used to give their children. It used to be cruel. But I am not going to set out that. I mean, come on. I mean, I bring a child in this world and I can't beat my own child. Yeah, I mean, in the past, we used to hear things about parents beating children with firewood, with iron. You know what I mean? Those things were cruel. I'm not saying that, they're supposed to happen. Yes, let us eliminate the way how you discipline your children. Not with pot spoon, chopping your children with pot spoon and beating them with frying pans and them kind of thing and firewood. But eliminate those cruel part of it. But don't tell a parents that you can't. I mean, come on, me bring the child in this world and me can't flag me own child. I mean, that is unacceptable, ridiculous. And that's my little contribution this morning.
Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution to the program. We have another caller. All right, we have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning, and how are you, Mr. Cornelius?
I'm doing wonderful. I haven't heard your voice in quite some time. How are you?
I'm here taking life easy and watching what's going on. The gentleman is so right. Because this used to happen in our area. We managed to see this freaking fighting in school. We know we used to get that. We want to fight, we kind of hide when we're in school over. I don't get you, we're doing this and teachers got to come and a crowd around them. That is not supposed to be. You ain't go to school for that. You go to school to learn to read. And, I saw a video at time on YouTube. And the African guy was talking and I said, look, I'm a doctor. My mom chastised me from some boys. And I didn't want to listen. She gave me a chop here in my forehead up to now. And then, but he said, look at what I am today. I came a doctor. I come to be a doctor. So if we listen to me never go to prison yet, me something, and I don't know going over the hill. Because I didn't take the ignorance about stab him back or he stabbed me. I didn't stab him, you hit me a little, it was stab me, got to come stab you with me. You call it, the geometry set.
Yeah.
People don't lose the iron or them thing because of the stupidness job, dig somebody the iron with the geometry set and all them deal. Ignorance, and because they come from ignorant parents. At time I'm going to give a scenario going now. Men and girl fight. For whatever reason, not school days thing. She mother coming and meet us coming down. Call a place over there, Lemon Hill, over at Village. Oh, hit her back, right back how she closed. Oh, I know when afterward, me don't go in the girl, me and she get back. No, ain't take on that. We know used to take on them things. Go in she house, sleep, day and all them, day and the mother in St. Thomas. But I just tell children, tell them how man, I behave yourself, because next day, you're going to make back. Very few parents used to say that. And some putting on this setting, and this is what's going on to the carrying on. I didn't even know that. The problem when you was in school, you remember you hit me and somebody hold you for you to hit me and all them dumbness. You don't know to school 10, 20, 15 years ago, done with them thing there.
All right.
Yeah. And that's what we got with on and things. But I hope they suspend the person that what is yesterday because Navis, it happened 2 months ago up there, and I think the principal said they were going to suspend the person. Give them a little thing, pull them up, can't you? The gentleman just now, them Mr. Boy there. If they don't soon go to a small shooting, that's the next thing to do. They don't go on there, we're going to ready to.
All right, caller.
The run. Yeah, we got to be careful.
All right. Well, we want to take some more calls. All right, so thank you so much for your contribution. We have another caller on the line. Okay, we seem to have lost that one. Let's take this other caller. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah.
I'd like to know if the laws of the land is just for certain people. Why I ask that is that I know of two young ladies who, okay, they have a home for problem children, and I know of two young ladies who been in the home for young girls for about 3 years, but they let them off early, they said, for good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But in less than 2 weeks, they found out that those two girls are pregnant. They didn't get pregnant outside. So I like to know who is going to investigate those matters. Thank you.
Well, Colin, thank you for bringing that situation to the public's attention, and I'm hoping that the powers that be listening. Thank you so much for your contribution as well. We'll take just one more call before we wrap up this conversation for today. I want to make mention of something I listened or heard the Prime Minister say at his roundtable discussion on Thursday. He made mention of a fusion center. And this fusion center deals with technology, of course, and artificial intelligence. He did not provide much details on it, but from my understanding of a fusion center, as it relates to law enforcement, it is various law enforcement agencies or bodies coming together and analyzing data and information to respond to criminal activities. And so I'm looking forward to hearing more from Prime Minister Drew on that fusion center that he made mention of on Thursday, yesterday. So these are some of the things that the government has been doing in response to criminal activity in St. Kitts and Nevis. But I'm leaving you with this question. What can you do to help the situation? You're listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. We'll just take one more caller and we will wrap up the discussion for today. We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. I just want to say thanks for the organization who donate those water from last year. Thanks.
Okay, I didn't quite hear what the caller said, but thank you for your contribution. All right, it's 11:56, and I'm going to begin wrapping up the conversation for today. Okay, I think we could squeeze in one last call. Do you have any callers? Okay, that's it for the callers for today. For those of you who just joined the program, you've been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and we focused on the topic of crime and violence and how can we prevent violent crime in our communities, and looking at some of the programs that exist for young people. I know as it is right now on the side of rehabilitation at the HMP, His Majesty's Prison, they have a program ongoing where inmates get the opportunity to pursue a degree at an accredited institution in the region. And so that is very commendable, giving inmates an opportunity to reintegrate into the community and into the society, and not, marking them off and saying, hey, you're done with. No, giving them a second chance at life. And I think that is very, very important. Again, there are a number of youth groups and organizations that you can join, such as the Sniper and different organizations that exist in St. Kitts and in Nevis as well for our young people. But not just young people. I want our people to, really ask yourself this question. What can we do in response to criminal activity? Most of these criminal activity take place in our communities, and we are aware of the situation. So we have to ask ourselves, what can we do? And not just ask ourselves the question, but actually do something about it. Thank you so much for joining The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I've been your host, Devonne Cornelius. See you next week. Come back next week with some very interesting topics. You guys have a good one and enjoy your weekend.
This is my land, my island, our home. The climate has changed, It's becoming strange. We have to come